Morning, and I'd like to follow up. The last spot I did was how the lectionary works for Sundays and great solemnities. Now I'd like to look briefly, I hope more briefly, at how the lectionary works during daily masses. We have 2 cycles of readings for daily mass, in ordinary time particularly, and really right across the board. We have different sets of readings for the first reading. Sometimes it might be from the New Testament, in what we called last time Lectio Continua, reading through a series of books perhaps, or the Old Testament. And it might start with Genesis and go all the way to the books of Kings. The second reading, the Gospel, because there are only 2 readings for daily Mass, the Gospel is always the same for either of those 2 cycles, okay? Which means that if you can find a connection between the first reading and the Gospel, it's either accidental or you've got a great imagination. For myself, I've got a great imagination. So we make that connection, and during the year, we hear an awful lot of the scriptures if we come to daily Mass. Some of the saints' celebrations, memorials for example especially, we've got the option of reading special readings selected for them. I personally choose those very, very often, just to kind of break things up. But that is an option we have in the lectionary. The lectionary during the privileged times, Advent and Lent particularly, and Easter, work in a special way too. The first half of Advent, for example, is just general first readings from the Old Testament prophesying the coming of the Messiah. The last bit of Advent is the details of the Annunciation to Zechariah, the Annunciation to Mary, the Visitation, etc. The immediate preparation for the birth of Christ. When we get to Lent, in Lent it's divided the same kind of way. We have general themes in the first part of Lent about repentance. Then in the second part of Lent, what we get are readings that talk more and more and more about Jesus and conflicts with the Jewish authorities and the things that kind of lead to the crucifixion. So it's a much more immediate preparation for Holy Week, you might say. In Easter season, the same kind of division. We have, in the first part, meditations on the sacraments, particularly from John's Gospel chapter 3 about baptism and John's Gospel chapter 6 about Eucharist. The second half is all taken from the Gospels anyhow, taken from the farewell discourse of John's Gospel, which is chapters 14 through 16, and then his priestly prayer for unity, chapter 17. So we hear a great deal about Jesus in these readings, and we're thankful that in every case, there's only one set of readings for these high holy days. We don't have cycle 1 and cycle 2 for Advent or Lent or Easter. But that's the way it works. And in other words, if you were paying attention and were able to come to Mass every single day for a year, you would hear probably 75% of the entire Bible. All of it is in the Bible, and we read it, and we're grateful. So thank you very much. See you next time.